being active and playing 4 games and then not, and like not feeling the best, and then like frustrated of like how hard I worked in the off season, and then like all I do is rehab and like continue to do this process and just like trying to trust that the best I can. And obviously there's really frustrating days, and there's days where like it's a little bit easier and like you're very, very motivated and like you're close to the finish line of getting back and being back. And then like, it's not like I have a training camp to like build up to like playing my first game again. It's like, no, like you're tossed into game 30.
Picture this. The WNBA wakes up to headlines hinting that their top star could have a best before date, and it might be as soon as 2026. Rumors are flying, with some analysts quietly forecasting a troubling future for Caitlin Clark, while the league reacts like someone just announced coffee was banned. From bold theories to eyebrow-raising insider chatter, this isn't your standard sports update. It's a full-on whirlwind in basketball sneakers. Strap in, because this saga might get wilder than a triple overtime nail biter.
If everyone can stop the pearl clutching for just a minute, and I say that as a turn of phrase, not because it's women's basketball, you'd realize this is the best thing imaginable for this league. And listen, I said this back when Caitlin was at Iowa, and everyone was, I thought, being overly protective of her, and I thought a lot of that had to do with like, oh, this little white girl in a black sport. And I was like, man, she is a badass and a trash talker and gives it as good as she gets.
The WNBA's panic button hasn't just been pressed, it's jammed in full-blown alarm mode. And it's not over some massive TV contract or a highlight reel dunk. The buzz is all about one simple truth. Caitlin Clark is the engine keeping this league running. Take her out of the equation, and suddenly the product starts looking like an awkward first time playing basketball video on the internet. The math is harsh. No Caitlin means no Cunningham, no Hull, no me, no you. What's left? Just an empty seat or two, a lonely mascot, and a couple of faded foam fingers from the late 90s.
This is something that do not be surprised if President Trump speaks on with that kind of audience that is protective of a Caitlin Clark and what she stands for and what she represents. And they come to a conclusion that they believe she is being unfairly treated. That is going to be a problem for the WNBA. And based on Trump's history with the NFL and him being an obvious sports fan, goes to events and stuff like that, he pays attention to this kind of stuff. I'm just warning them, watch it, because if he gets involved and that base gets involved, because somehow, some way they embrace victimhood on a part of Kate.
Let's be real. The only reason this is even up for debate is because no one wants to stare down the uncomfortable truth. Caitlin Clark is playing 4D chess, and most of the league is stuck on a busted board game, missing half its pieces. She's delivering passes that defy logic and draining shots that make science majors question their textbooks, while the WNBA tries to convince us that Angel Reese is a can't-miss spectacle. But when your supposed headliners' best clips look like they were filmed at half speed in a backyard driveway game, that's not a golden ticket. That's a first-class seat straight to irrelevance.
She is an object of scorn. For good reason. She's awesome. She's swaggery. She does turn your home crowd into a road crowd. She is a frustrating player to guard, all of it. And if she is, for some of these teams, a bit of a villain, that's sweet. It only will make her better. She is already one of the 3 or 4 best players in the sport, as a lot of us thought she would be in short order. And sports are best like this.
And here's the twist. The WNBA doesn't seem all that interested in protecting Clark. If anything, it feels like there's an unofficial task force whose only job is to make her life harder. Step 1? Bring in referees who could moonlight as stage magicians, because they've mastered the art of making clean plays vanish into thin air. What should be a crisp assist suddenly morphs into a whistle and a lecture, as if Clark's real offense was committing the crime of being too good at basketball.
I mean, yeah, like, I would have loved to win one of them, but honestly, like, 2 of my most fun nights in college were after losing the national championship. Like,
yeah, fair.
We had just as much fun. Like,
yeah.
I mean, yes, we were sad. We would have loved to win one of them. And I think I would have loved to win one of them. Not so much because, like, okay, yeah, like I win one of them, we get like a ring, whatever, like people celebrate. But like, honestly, I think people celebrated us just as much as they did if we, didn't win, obviously.
Sure, there's a simple fix. Swap out every ref for traffic cones. At least cones don't invent phantom fouls. But no, instead we've got Angel Bird in the league office acting like a school principal convinced that banning chewing gum will solve every problem. Here's the only sensible move. Replace Angel Bird. Then replace her again, just for good measure. And if Adam Silver won't step in to make it happen, swap him out too. This stage, the only real path forward might be clearing house until someone in charge realizes the league's top player is being sabotaged by sheer incompetence.
If everyone can stop the pearl clutching for just a minute, and I say that as a turn of phrase, not because it's women's basketball, you'd realize this is the best thing imaginable for this league. And listen, I said this back when Caitlin was at Iowa, and everyone was, I thought, being overly protective of her, and I thought a lot of that had to do with like, oh, this little white girl in a black sport. And I was like, man, she is a badass and a trash talker and gives it as good as she gets it. And
And let's be honest, this isn't magically fixing itself. Sure, Caitlin Clark could stay in the WNBA, grind out 30-point nights, and keep taking hits from defenders who couldn't guard a folding chair on wheels.
But why?
Why spend the prime of her career in a league that treats her like just another number on the roster? If she made the jump to the EuroLeague, she'd likely earn more, play in a system where officials actually know the rules, and get the respect and protection her game deserves. She wouldn't have to pretend that Angel Reese is her arch nemesis when that rivalry has all the intensity of a friendly pillow fight. Here's the uncomfortable truth no one likes to admit. The WNBA's overall talent pool is shallow. Yes, there are a few standouts who can match Caitlin's speed, vision, and shooting, but they're the exception, not the rule. That's why social media highlight reels are 9 parts Caitlin Clark brilliance and 1 part everyone else tripping over their own feet. Yet the marketing machine keeps spinning, trying to sell Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark as a must-see showdown. Oh yes, sign me up to watch Clark effortlessly dismantle someone still working on basic shooting form. Truly, edge-of-your-seat entertainment.
Good news and some bad news for those who are fans of pretend basketball. For those who are desperate to see the WNBA succeed, even though this dump of a league can't seem to get the hell out of their own way. Now, the WNBA, they refer to these people as fans, but the rest of us, we prefer to call them the mainstream media. The good news is, WNBA ratings have been somewhat solid, even though Caitlin Clark has missed damn near the entire season.
The reality is simple. When fans want to watch high-level basketball, they tune into the NBA or top-tier college games. The WNBA? People watch for 2 reasons. Caitlin Clark, and occasionally because their TV remote is dead and the channel stuck on ESPN2. The league can't face that truth, so they bury it under forced hype and questionable officiating. And instead of making life easier for their one true draw, they seem intent on running her through an obstacle course until she either wears down or walks away. Here's how this could go. It's 2026, the final year before Clark has the option to leave. She surveys the scene. The refs are still clueless. Angel Bird is still calling the shots, and Adam Silver is still, well, doing whatever he does when he's not turning the NBA All-Star game into a gimmick fest. Clark decides she's done. She signs with a EuroLeague team offering twice the pay, teammates who double as bodyguards, and a fan base that actually appreciates generational talent. The fallout? Total chaos. The ratings plummet faster than a botched Reese layup. Ticket sales nosedive, and all those record growth press releases vanish into thin air. ESPN quietly bumps the WNBA to the 3 a.m. slot after cornhole tournaments. And the only conversation left will be people asking, hey, whatever happened to Caitlin Clark?
Playoffs, but she was eliminated, swept in 2 games. But the WNBA, man, these players have been acting like they are victims. Now, Caitlin Clark has brought a whole bunch of eyes to the WNBA. And what do these players actually do? Folks, it has gotten really, really ridiculous, man, in the WNBA, because all these players are screaming racism. For the fans, yes, they are attacking the fan.
Which brings me to the easiest, most obvious solution that will absolutely never happen. Clean house. Replace Angelbert, replace Adam Silver, and replace every referee who thinks whistling a foul on a clean block counts as maintaining game control. Bring in people who understand that Caitlin Clark isn't just the face of the WNBA, she is the WNBA. Without her, you're left with a dimly lit gym, clunky jump shots, and marketing campaigns that feel like awkward group projects. Sure, maybe the league gets lucky. Maybe Caitlin sticks around out of loyalty, or some vague sense of unfinished business. Maybe she decides dragging an entire league up to her level is worth the fight. But if she walks, no amount of PR spin will cover the truth. The WNBA had the best thing to happen to it in decades and let her slip away. Picture the day it happens. The press release drops. We wish Caitlin well in her future endeavors. Translation? We just lost our golden goose, and now we're staring at an empty nest with a raccoon in it. You can almost hear Engelbert on TV, selling it as an opportunity for new stars to emerge. Right? Just like swapping out LeBron for a guy from the local church league is an opportunity for the game to grow.
And it literally like pisses me off when people are like, she's not the face of the league.
Who would be?
What?
Sabrina? No.
No, there's really good, well-known people in our league. I'm not discrediting them. Like, we have a lot of badasses in our league.
Yeah.
Like, hell yeah to that. I'm all for that. But when people try to argue that she's not the face of our league,
Yeah.
or if our league would be where we're at without her, you're dumb as shit.
Yeah.
You're literally dumb as fuck.
The fans would be livid. Social media would erupt. The WNBA subreddit would spiral into more conspiracy threads than a UFO forum, all circling the same question: why didn't anyone protect her? The answers would be obvious to everyone except the people in charge. Stop letting officials treat her like a piñata at a kid's party, with defenders swinging for souvenirs. Stop selling Angel Reese as the WNBA's LeBron when she's closer to a reality TV contestant who got famous for one loud outburst. Stop pretending skill level is optional when it's the only real reason anyone buys a ticket. But here's the catch. The league runs on denial like it's a renewable energy source. And Adam Silver? He's that substitute teacher who knows the class is out of control but just cues up a movie instead of fixing the problem. You could put this truth on a giant banner and fly it over every WNBA arena, and maybe then it would sink in. Now picture Caitlin in Europe, stepping off the plane and being greeted like royalty. Fans waving her jersey in the streets. Sponsors lining up with checks so massive they need an extra page just for the zeros. Are the referees perfect? Of course not. But at least they're not inventing new fouls just to slow her down. And every game, she's going against stacked rosters. Because over there, if you can't compete, you sit. Over here, if you can't compete, they give you a nickname and a sneaker deal.
Applies to a fresh turd. These numbers without the roof from Waterloo look great. Instead of a freshly baked turd with no activity, there are definitely some flies attracted to this unbelievably bad product. In some cases, I've heard the WNBA even managed to attract a horsefly or two. But WNBA players, they are demanding million-dollar contracts, million-dollar salaries. WNBA players are demanding a larger portion of revenue. Now, notice their demands involve revenue, not profit. If the WNBA implemented a profit-sharing model, the players would be paying.
Meanwhile, back in the WNBA, a new chapter begins. Without Caitlin Clark. Opening night TV ratings? Let's just say you could count the viewers on a pretty sturdy abacus. The highlight? A lucky banked 3 that was clearly an accident, but ESPN hypes it like the game winner. You can almost hear the commentators struggling not to laugh. Angel Reese is still out here celebrating layups that bounced around the rim like they were auditioning for a bounce house, and the league's big drama is someone rocking mismatched socks during warm-ups. Sure, it's technically drama, but nobody's tuning in for that. Now, here's where things start to go downhill. Attendance. The first season, without Caitlin, we'll see entire sections of arenas left empty, except maybe Angelbert's buddies and a Choco vendor who's only there because it's a family gig. Season ticket holders will suddenly find new hobbies, like watching paint dry or counting ceiling tiles at home. The league will resort to handing out free tickets with every sandwich just to fill seats. And what does the league do next? Double down on the hype. We have a new face of the league, they'll announce, showcasing a player whose stats look more like a T-ball scoreboard. She'll be plastered on every poster, featured in every promo, and grilled in every halftime interview. And within 2 weeks, fans will be wondering if she's hurt, because they haven't actually seen her do anything on the court yet.
Fever basketball team has been hit with several blows, man, this whole season. Caitlin Clark went down early. You even had at one point Sophie Cunningham going down for a little bit. But one thing I can say is that a lot of these players like Kelsey Mitchell, Leah Boston, Natasha Howard stayed the course. You know, when you want to make it to that next level, especially in the second half of the season, going to make an impact all throughout the league, you have to stay the course. And that's
Meanwhile, Caitlin's EuroLeague highlights will be blowing up online every week. Deep threes from the logo, slick no-look passes through defenders, clutch buzzer beaters, and arenas packed to the rafters. The kind of basketball moments that remind you why you fell in love with the game in the first place. And with every viral clip, another piece of the WNBA's credibility crumbles. It'll be like watching a sandcastle slowly wash away as the tide rolls in. The media will have a field day. This isn't subtle or complicated. Stars get protected, teams build around them, and you definitely don't let your best player get so frustrated she's Googling the best European cities to play basketball. But here's the WNBA's approach in a nutshell. They'll spin Caitlin's departure not as a failure, but as a growth opportunity to expand the game internationally. Translation: they're going to craft a marketing campaign so slick that no one has to admit they blew it. They'll probably send Engelbert to cover Caitlin's first EuroLeague game, filming some feel-good segment about building bridges between leagues, all while she smiles into the camera, forgetting she's the one who snipped the rope that once held that bridge together.
At this point, I think we all can agree that Caitlin Clark is going to be returning to action, but the question I have for all of you is, how many games do you think she needs under her belt going into playoff time for her to get into the swing of things? You want to see her play nothing in the regular season? First game back, she's in a series against the Phoenix Mercury. First game back, she's in a series against the Atlanta Dream. Do you want to see her play the 5 games remaining in the schedule? There's only 12 games left.
This is why fans are already saying it. If Clark's gone, they're gone. If Cunningham's gone, Hall's gone. The last person out the door can turn off the lights. And hey, maybe they can leave a little note taped to Engelbert's desk on their way out. It didn't have to end like this, but of course, the league will pretend they don't hear it. They'll keep spinning the story that everything's fine, growing, and on track. But the numbers don't lie. When panic really sets in, when sponsors start pulling out, when networks move games to obscure streaming channels no one knows about, maybe then, just maybe, someone will realize this mess could have been avoided with 2 simple steps: fire Engelbert and shake up the WNBA leadership. Meanwhile, the league will keep trying to convince you their newest star is the next big thing. Spoiler alert, she's not. Because here's the cold truth. You can market, hype, and spin all you want, but greatness can't be faked. And if you keep pushing greatness away, don't be surprised when all that's left is mediocrity wrapped up in a shiny brochure.
Luana Bonner drama. We know that was a locker room situation, but guess what? They stayed the course. And that's what they got to do to make it to the WNBA championship. Ultimately, a lot of people have been boycotting for Caitlin Clark to not come back. With Ari McDonald down, Sydney Colson down, a lot of people feel like the depth isn't what it was. I feel like Caitlin Clark definitely need to come back. Sophie Cunningham, the way she's been balling, they'll be all right, man.
When the inevitable state of the league press conference rolls around, it'll be a masterclass in unintentional comedy. Engelbert will stand at the podium grinning like she just hit the jackpot, while the league quietly burns behind her. She'll announce record-breaking engagement numbers. While the only viral clip that week is Caitlin Clark dropping 40 points in a EuroLeague playoff game for a team whose home arena brews better coffee than most WNBA venues, the halftime show, sponsored by a local car dealer, gets canceled because the dealer decided that sponsoring a bowling league was a smarter investment. Meanwhile, fans will be at home, scrolling through Caitlin's highlights from Europe, muttering how all this could have been avoided. But by then, the WNBA won't even be panicking anymore. They'll be numb. When the best thing to happen to your league in decades walks out the door, all you can do is look around, sigh, and wish someone had actually listened when the crowd started chanting, "Fire Angel Bert. Fire Adam Silver."